Does the channel provide value?
Focus on the foundation.
I am a travel vlogger.
It's always about communication.
Build those partnerships.
What are the problems that you solve for your clients?
Just being ahead on the technological side of things.
Leading an organization.
You not only want to survive, but you want to thrive. They said it wouldn't last, and they said that you can't drive profitable and incremental revenue through the affiliate channel. But here we are, 20 years later, and the affiliate channel is alive and kicking and generating profitable revenue for thousands of retailers across the globe. Hi, I am Jamie Birch, your host of the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast, where we talk to some of the industry's best and brightest about their careers, about leadership, and about how to drive profitable revenue through the affiliate channel. Hey, this is Jamie Birch, your host of the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast and CEO and founder of JEBCommerce, your award-winning affiliate management agency. Today, I have a special guest, the one and only Matt McWilliams, the affiliate guy. We talk about so much today, but let me first, I want to tell you about a tool that we have available right now. A lot of people are starting at your planning. You're even looking at your affiliate program in Q4, and you're wondering if you have everything set up. And you're probably wondering if you have everything set up to drive incremental revenue. Well, we created a tool that allows you to benchmark yourself against the top affiliate programs out there and find out if your affiliate program is set up to generate incremental revenue or not. And you can go to jebcommerce.com/incremental and find that tool. It'll take you about 5 to 7 minutes to fill that out, and you get a whole printout in email that tells you where you're doing really well and where you need to improve or opportunities for you to improve. So today's guest is Matt McWilliams. Matt and I have known each other for a very long time. We talk about so much today. We talk about his career path, success stories in the space. We talk about your 4-sentence emails to affiliates. We talk a lot about if you're an affiliate, what would you want to go through? But also, if you want to know how you can increase revenue through your affiliates, this is a really good program. Really good podcast to listen to. At the end, the last 10, 15 minutes, Matt and I talk about contests. We talk about communication. He calls it the 3 C's. He dives into that. A lot of stuff that he and I have been doing for a really long time. Matt is phenomenal at it. It's a great podcast, super entertaining, and you'll love it. At the end and in the show notes, we list how you can get in touch with Matt, how you can learn more. If you're an affiliate or you're someone who wants to be an affiliate, there's a great podcast for you too. He's got a lot of resources that we share in our show notes as well. So I'm going to shut up and get out of the way so you can listen to my conversation with Matt McWilliams. Welcome to the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. I am super excited to get to talk to you again today. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me, Jamie.
Yeah. Where are you in the world right now? Nashville?
I am in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, were you in Nashville?
I lived in Nashville for many years. We've been up here for 10 years, almost over 10 years now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I should get with the times.
Yeah, I know. It kind of I still have a Nashville number and it throws people off. Like people who knew that I lived there, they just assume I'm still there. But yeah, we've been in Fort Wayne in the Midwest here for just a little bit over 10 years. And all I can say is it's cold, man. It's, it's different.
Oh yeah. You have full on winters there.
Very much so. Yeah. This past winter was like the first winter where we didn't go south for, for like the month of January. Yeah, and it turned out to be just brutal here with just epic snow. Like I think it literally was on the ground the entire month. And I remember at the end of the month, like I kind of thought that whole, that seasonal affective disorder, like true confession, growing up in the South, I'd heard about it and I thought it was kind of one of those things. I'm like, really, that's not like a real thing. It's kind of like people are making that up. It's really just an excuse to be lazy in the winter and, whatever. Like it's not a real thing. And I remember about early February hit and I was in the office one day and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I am literally depressed. If we don't get a nice day soon, I'm going to have to leave. Like I'm just going to have to go south right now. And, thankfully we had just enough of those like it's 41 today and sunny. Woohoo. And I got outside and kind of saved myself because it was one of those like stretches where I don't think we left indoors for like a month. So yeah, those are the worst.
Yeah, being from the Northeast and now the Northwest, I know all too well about that and how legit it is. We are planning to go south twice a year. We have a season here in North Idaho where it's just rainy in the fall, and there's no snow to ski, and it's just kind of blah. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go this November and December. I think we're going to be taking our horses down south. And possibly going all the way over to Oklahoma during that time. And then that January, that's the month, man. That is the month where it's dreary. Sometimes there's really good skiing, but it can still be pretty early around here. So we plan to do that again in January, but we did that in April. We took 3 weeks to do a working vacation in California and Oregon, and that expanded our spring by a whole month. And that made 3 weeks made the whole difference. I think we'll carry that like extra 3 weeks of sun for the whole year.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's psychologically like when we go, we go right after the new year. So, crowds are just nothing down in Florida that time of year because everybody's back in school and stuff. And so we go then, and it's about 3.5 weeks. And it's like, we've been through about 7 weeks of winter, 6-7 weeks of, of cold. And when we come back, I mean, there's only February and March. And yeah, I mean, it can be like, I remember Mother's Day this year, it was like 38 and rainy, but 2 days before it was 78 and sunny, So there's only like a few more weeks left instead of just like every day feels the same for 18 consecutive weeks. It's like, it's just cold and gross and dark. It's like, okay, when we come back, we're like, there's 6 to 8 weeks left. I can do that. I can push through 6 to 8 weeks. But yeah, this was brutal. So that was kind of one of my deals. Like, we will move north. We'll be near your family, sweetheart. I just have to leave for at least a few weeks in the middle of winter. Oh yeah. And that whole thing of knowing that something's coming later, there's been studies that show with travel specifically, if you plan something a year ahead, just, the value of that trip is during the time you're there, but that whole year of anticipation. And so I've wondered, what's that been like for everyone in COVID and that travel not being there, now being open, it's going to go crazy. Yeah. And I mean, even like with COVID, I mean, one thing psychologically that I don't have any documentation on this, but just knowing the psychology of anticipation, I was a psych major in college. And I remember specifically like the best part about Christmas for kids is not Christmas Day. It's the months leading up to it. It's our son's already thinking about his birthday and it's 10 weeks away. This is the best time about his birthday. And with COVID, because everything kind of like every day kind of just felt like the day before for a lot of people. Like, we're in Indiana, you're in Idaho. Like, let's be honest, it was pretty open in both places. Like, it wasn't like that for us, but for a lot of people, tomorrow was going to feel like today. And people lost that anticipation. Like, in we're looking forward to Christmas because we get to see family. And it's like, no, we're not, No, we're not. So for a lot of people, I could see that being a source of deep depression and it's psychologically draining for there not to be that anticipation, whatever that anticipation is, whether it be vacation, seeing family. Sometimes it's like, I know for me, it sounds weird, but like, the best part of like date night with my wife, and she would probably agree, is the planning of it. It's the thinking about how awesome it's going to be to go to Ruth's Chris. And truth be told, like, yes, we have great conversation. We love, having time together, but the meals are never as good anywhere we go as we anticipate them being. That's true. It's rare. So, yeah. Yeah. You said something there that really stuck out. Tomorrow's going to look just like today. Mm-hmm. Never heard it put that way. That could be really difficult. And like you said, it was pretty open here. We didn't really have to worry about that. But I know millions weren't. Was there anything, you've worked remotely for from a home office for quite a long time. Over 10 years. Was there 10 years. So anything changed during COVID now as we're opening? Is anything still changing? I hate to say this. I mean, it makes me sound like the worst person on earth. I'm not bragging when I say this. I'm actually saying it from a place of being super thankful. the gratitude I have for the fact that my life, other than about a 2-week stretch there, kind of right after things locked down and we were kind of figuring out, okay, like we're not having soccer, for a few weeks,
Yeah.
Things like that. Other than that, life was pretty normal. The only thing that changed was for about 2 months there, we went on a lot more hikes. And it was kind of one of those things like we couldn't go to stores and we couldn't do, and the weather was okay. It was like kind of like mid 50s, in March and early April. And so we went on a lot of hikes and we went to places we'd never been. We went to this beautiful, like Fox Island here in Fort Wayne. I mean, it's like you go out to Fox Island, you're like 6 minutes from the mall. No exaggeration, maybe 10. And yet it feels like you're in the middle of absolute nowhere, and there's hills, which we don't have a lot of in northern Indiana, for the record. There's these huge hills, like it's like formed by a glacier from like 10,000 years ago, right? And it's beautiful, and there's nature, and there's just all this stuff. So we would go on these like epic hikes, and we would go down to Turkey Run State Park, and we go on like an 8-hour hike, and it was really cool.
That's awesome.
To do that. That was like the weird thing that changed for us. We did a lot more of that. But yeah, working from home and homeschooling already, the reality is the only two things that changed was we didn't travel, extensively. And soccer was delayed by a month, for our kids. So like, other than that, and we didn't eat out for a couple of months, until things opened back up here. Other than that, everything was pretty normal, thankfully, and I'm super grateful for that. There was not an adjustment for us, and business took off because we teach online marketing, so people were kind of getting into that whole thing. And that's the thing about working from home when you haven't, is one of the things that I know, anecdotally, and we know this with schooling, when you homeschool, you can get what takes the school system 7 hours done in about 4, 3.5 or 4.
That's
and it's
true.
not necessarily,
we homeschool too.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily because my wife's a better teacher than, the public school teachers. That's not it necessarily. That's debatable, of course, but whatever. It's that we're like so focused and there's not a lot of distraction. And the reality is, again, I'm thankful for this. I wish I had grown up being homeschooled by my wife. That would have been weird. Like kind of creepy, and I don't even get into that. But like, that only happens in Kentucky, right? And so
for all our Kentucky listeners, that view was just Matt's.
Yeah, I know. I figured you out. So I was going to say that. I claim that, not you. Don't worry. There's only like 3 of them that have internet. So also just mine there. We could just keep that going for a while. But any other states you want me to insult real quick while we're at it? No, but like...
No, I think if we just keep it to Kentucky, that'd be fine.
Yeah, we'll keep the borders. We'll lock down the borders there. Good. I have more Kentucky jokes later. And so in all seriousness though, like I wish that was me, but like part of it is like, she's focused on our 2 kids and there's not 28 other kids in the classroom that she has to focus on.
Yep.
So it just moves faster. And one of the things that I think people noticed was like working remotely, and I'm not necessarily an advocate for working remotely or not working remotely, is I know anecdotally people were like, I normally am in an office from 8:30 to 5:30. 9 hours plus the 20-minute commute there and back. So 10 hours basically. They're like, I got my work done in 5.5. They're like, what do I do with those other, like 3 hours? Like, well, first of all, enjoy family time, enjoy some downtime, go work out, take up a hobby. But I'm like, start a side hustle. So we had people coming to us and they're like, my kids don't get out of such and such until, 5. And that's normally when I would stop working, and it's 2:15. What do I do? And I'm like, well, how about you spend 2.5 hours working on a side hustle? So that was one of the things we saw from our business perspective, was just the number of people who were able to do stuff on the side, and start, kind of getting into entrepreneur world, which was super awesome. And we've had some amazing success stories. I mean, literally just people who last March 1st were full-time employed and had no visions of, being an entrepreneur whatsoever. Fast forward, a year and 2 months later, and they're running, some of them have gone full-time with their online business, running a low 6-figure, some of them are at, 50,000, 60,000. They're about ready to go full-time. So it's pretty cool, seeing that. I think that's been one of the big shifts we've seen.
And I want to dive into all of that. Let's start at the beginning. I know you and I met. I remember seeing your name on a short list of 3 affiliate managers up for an award. I was one of them.
You remember the other 2 names on that by chance?
Angel was on there, yeah, and then me. And then I thought, who's this Matt guy? I need to meet this guy. So if he beats me, I'll be happy for him. And I had to reach out, like, who are you? And because I really thought, like, I wanted that award so bad. And I thought, if I don't know who else is up for it and I lose, I'm just going to be pissed off. So let me reach out. And turned out, you're a great guy. Definitely deserved the award, and we've known each other ever since. And that was quite a long time ago. But tell me, how did you get your start? What's the origin story of Matt?
Oh my gosh. So growing up, I mean, I always knew, Jamie, that I would be a professional golfer. That was what I was going to do. It's what I lived for. My entire life revolved around it, and actually got pretty good. I mean, I played golf at the University of Tennessee. Was at one point was ranked as high as 14th in the country in Division I golf. So I mean, it wasn't like it was a pipe dream. I was pretty darn good. And but growing up, I remember specifically, I had a friend of mine, Hunter. We grew up always talking about how, like, we were going to play, and we were never ever going to be one of those guys who grew up playing junior golf, went to college, and then couldn't make it. And we ended up teaching old ladies in purple sweaters how to play golf. So I left college. I had my first round of my freshman year. I injured my left wrist, and it never healed properly. And I ended up with these 2 bones out of alignment.
Oh man.
And it was really, really causing some issues, like throughout really my entire left side of my body, up into my neck even. So I played professionally for about 1.5 years, and finally they figured out what was wrong. And the guy was like, "You're going to need surgery. You're going to be out for about 18 months." I'm like, I'm actually not. I don't really want to do that. I was like, I'm not gonna have surgery. He's like, "Is there another option?" He's like, "Yeah, don't play as much golf." I'm like, okay, well, that means I'm not going to play professionally, because you can't just practice like once a week and and play professional golf. And my game was really suffering because I wasn't playing enough. And so I started teaching these golf schools with my dad. And I heard about this website back in 2002. It's called google.com. Nobody's been to google.com in approximately 8 years, because you just go up to the bar at the top and type in what you want. But back then, you went to google.com to type in, or as my mom used to do, you went to google.com to type in yahoo.com and then go to your Yahoo Mail. True story. I still give her crap for that. Like, Mom, well,
at least back when I started, I went to AOL. AOL was the internet at that point.
So I heard about this website called Google, where you could bid on these things called keywords. And for 10 cents a click, I could get people to come to my website about with these golf schools that my dad and I taught. Now, to give you some perspective, we were averaging about 2 students a weekend. They each pay between $2,000 and $3,000, about average about $2,500. That was great. I'd make $2,500 in a weekend. That's not bad when you're 22 years old, teaching these golf schools. But I felt like we could get more students. And so for 10 cents a click, I would have people come to my website. Now, we teach people today. This is something we teach, right? Like, my new book is all like, the entire section of the book is about how to grow your email list and stop trying to make, convert people into sales on the first date. Like, don't ask them to marry you, nurture them. Right. And we have them come to our website. We give them a lead mag, we nurture them through our email list. But back then, you came to my website and you did one of 2 things. You either gave me $2,000 or $3,000 or you left. Well, I converted 0.5% of traffic. Well, you can do the math. I'm spending like $30 to acquire a $2,500 customer. And I never forget, one day we had an ice storm in North Carolina. It was late in the year too. It was like early March, which is really late to have one of these. So spring's coming up, and that was our big time. Like, from about the next week through now, like mid-June or so, was like the really big push for these golf schools. And I'm sitting there, don't judge me, but I'm watching an Ally McBeal marathon all day long. I lived with my mom.
I'll try hard not to.
Yeah. Well, it was a Kentucky thing. No, I'm just kidding. So while I've already dug the hole with the Kentuckians, I might as well just keep digging. And so I'm watching this Ally McBeal marathon.
Grabbing the shovel.
Yeah. And I had this thing set up where it would make a ding every time we had a sale. like 10 o'clock in the morning. I hear ding and I'm going, man, I'm sitting here in an ice storm. I just made $2,500. I haven't even looked at my computer today. About another hour goes by, ding, like 2 hours, ding, 3 hours later, ding. Long story short, I sat there watching Ally McBeal all day long, Jamie. And my dad and I 50-50 split, but between the two of us on this one day made almost $20,000. And I'm like, there might be something to this, like we'd already done pretty well. So I'm teaching these golf schools. Now we have 8 to 10 students per weekend, 15 to 20 grand split between the two of us for a Friday through Sunday, plus our other stuff. Like I'm 22 years old. I don't know what to do with that kind of money. I'm paying my mom $200-300 a month in rent. Like I have no expenses. And I just remember thinking, okay, this is kind of cool. There was only one problem though. I had to teach these people how to play golf. And I really didn't want to teach anyone how to play golf. I hated teaching golf. So sure enough, one day, about, $500,000 into this venture.
Well, how many old ladies in purple sweaters did you have?
Well, this is where we're going with this. Sure enough, one day, this old lady, 75-year-old woman in a lavender sweater, walks up. And poor woman, I mean, she was the sweetest lady in the world, but I did not want to teach her how to play golf. And so I pull out my little flip phone. It's like the original flip phone that had the camera. It was like 0.2 megapixels, right? And if you were any more than 2 feet away, you couldn't tell if it was an amoeba or a person. And I flip this thing open and I take a picture.
I remember those days.
I send it to my friend Hunter, the one we swore would never teach old lady in purple sweaters how to play golf. And if you're an old lady in a purple sweater, well, hopefully you live in Kentucky because I've already offended you. And I can't make it any worse. And so I take this and I send it to him and I say, kill me now. And now a good female friend, you may or may not know this, Jamie, but if you can imagine, your wife or somebody, who's like a really good friend that's female, they would immediately call you and say, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do for you? Can I make you dinner? Can I bring you a casserole? Can I come over and talk to you? Do you need me to bring some wine? But like a good male friend, Hunter responds back and says, haha, sucks to be you. And so I knew then I could not continue to do this. Like I could not continue to teach anyone how to play golf, no matter how much money I was making. And so thankfully my dad fired me, but that was how I got the online marketing bug. That was in 2002 through 2003. Wow. I got into this online marketing world, started a company with Hunter. Unfortunately, in the time between when I was teaching these golf schools, 10 cents a click for $2,500, and when we got into the insurance leads business, everyone else discovered this Google.com, and the cost of ads skyrocketed. And so now, and I'm in a very competitive niche in insurance, we can't afford to go spend $8 a click for a $12 transaction. Converting 50%, we're going to lose money. And so we're like, well, we're almost out of money. We got to figure out like, how do we make money? Like, how can we do this profitably? I'm like, well, I heard about these people called affiliates. He's like, a what? I'm like, affiliates. He's like, radio stations? Like, what is that? I'm like, no, it's people who market your product. But like, you don't pay them until after you make a sale. And we're like, that sounds good because we don't have any money. And so we started this affiliate program for this insurance leads company. I still remember our first, like if my first affiliate called me today, his name was Brandon Miller. He's from Western North Carolina. Hey, Matt, it's Brandon. And I'm not making fun. I'm from Eastern North Carolina, so that's how we sound down there. And but he'd call up, hey, Matt, it's Brandon. And in his first month, he made like $300, and we had a couple of other like $1,000 affiliates, $200 affiliates. Fast forward about 18 months, and we had our first $1 million month, and the rest is history.
Wow. How many months did that take?
18 months, almost I think it was exactly 18 months from when we started our affiliate program so we started that affiliate program. It was Memorial Day 2005. Worst Memorial Day weekend ever. Like we just had Memorial Day here, right? It was awesome, man. I ate some bratwurst. I was outside the whole weekend. I got sunburned. It was so awesome. That Memorial Day weekend, I spent 18 hours a day, all 3 days in an office learning how to run an affiliate program. Now, this back then, there was like 3 blog posts in Warrior Forum. There was nothing. There were not courses like ours, or there were not people like you who had blogs. Nobody, like there were not books on this stuff, right? So I'm like, how do you run an affiliate program? I'm like, oh, something about cookies. Apparently I'm supposed to give our affiliates cookies. So I'm like calling up, American Cookie Company. Like, can you send
Acres?
Yeah, like I'm calling up bakers. Like, I don't know. I'm supposed to send my affiliates cookies. I don't know what that means, but just send them some cookies. And like I had no idea. And we had to build the tech because there was no out of the box tech stuff back then. So we custom built in a 3-day weekend an affiliate platform for our company with our overseas developers. Wow. And I had to I'm making everything up. I'm like, well, it's, I have a background in sales and I know marketing. So I don't know, I'll make it up, and I kind of like invented a lot of the stuff that I did. Some of the stuff I found out later was truly revolutionary. Some of the stuff, it was stuff that if I just asked somebody, if I knew the right people, they would have told me to do it. Some of the stuff was stupid and turns out you're not supposed to do it, but I didn't know any better and I had to learn the hard way. But I kind of just figured it out. Yeah. And then next thing I know, in January of 2007, we had our first $1 million, month from our affiliate program from a company that and that Memorial Day weekend, that Friday before Memorial Day, we had less than $5,000 in the bank. We were going to basically go bankrupt in a matter of weeks. Wow. And in fact, that first month we were floating. I mean, I wouldn't have told anybody this, and I don't recommend doing this. But like when Brandon made the $300, like that, he sent us like $500 in transactions. We spent all $500 of that on payroll and we're really hoping that we'd get a couple more affiliates to bring in some money to pay him. I mean, it was like a Ponzi scheme, just to be perfect. It's like Social Security. Okay. It was
now we call that float.
Yeah. We call that float. Well, that's what we were doing. We were floating. It was dangerous. I couldn't sleep for a few weeks. But it was the only thing that saved us. And, then look what it led to, about 18 months later. Like I said, that following year in 2007, we did $12.6 million from our affiliate program.
Wow. That is fantastic. And that darkness right before the light must have been harrowing.
Oh, dude, I remember the meeting. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember sitting in the office of our CEO, Hunter. I remember everything about that meeting. I remember where I was sitting, what was happening outside, every car that drove by out the window. And I remember we're like whiteboarding these just inane ideas for like, well, if we do this, we can make like $50 a week. I'm like, okay, that's great. And if we, I don't know, like if, cause I think we paid for like, I think we had a small office at the time. I think we paid like $600 a month. I'm like, well, we can cancel that. I'm like, yippee. That'll take $600 Like, I'm like, dude, that'll keep us afloat for like an extra 48 hours. Like we need kind of like bigger ideas. And I'm telling you, man, like the end of the first week, I think we had like 5 affiliates who were, doing something. I mean, I think they brought in like $1,000, but you take that $1,000 and combine it with the $4,000 we already had. And now we were down to 3, but then the next week, we got a few more affiliates and the other ones kind of ramped up and we made like, I think it was like week 3 where we made enough to pay our bills from our affiliate program. It was barely enough. Wow. I think we made like $2,400 or whatever, but I mean, it was not only the savior of our business, but it's what allowed us to scale. When we had that first $1 million month, we had 52 employees and, the entire floor of this massive office building. And it was kind of cool, but it really did go back to like, I don't know that we would have done it if we weren't so desperate. Like there's something to be said for that bootstrapping where it's like, we didn't have, we didn't have investors. We didn't have our top 2 competitors were both owned. One was owned by a VC, and one was owned by a publicly traded company. And we didn't have those. Like we had the money that we had and we'd spent most of it and we were broke and we needed a miracle. And, our miracle just happened to be starting an affiliate program.
Now, what's true about affiliate marketing now that was true when you started that? Principally
everything. I mean, it's still the same basic concept. The concept's been around since Romans, I mean, I can't think of any Roman names, but Caiaphas is talking to Sisyphus and he's like, hey, I know a guy who's got a good deli, come on down. And then like the deli owner's like, dude, you're a great, here's money for referring, this guy to me. I mean, like all Amazon did in, I don't know, 1995, roughly, when they started their associates program, or 2000-ish, all they did was add technology to it. And it's literally, the concept's been around forever. The principles are still the same. And the industry really has not changed in a good way. It's not going to change. It's still about, number one, relationships. Number two, you got to have a good product that converts well. And number three, you got to take care of your affiliates. And how do you take care of your affiliates? You take care of your affiliates the same way you take care of anyone. You treat them like human beings. You respond to them. You teach them. You serve them. You coach them. You advocate for them. I mean, it's like, I wish it was a little bit more complicated, because we teach people how to do this, and I would love to charge more money. But the reality is, like, the basic principles, once you kind of understand the psychology of it and you understand, a lot of the basics, it's just like, be a good human being. Don't reach out to people with, like, it drives me nuts. Like, we tell our clients, we have a 4-sentence rule. We will not, do not ever ask me to send an email that's longer than 4 sentences, on a cold reach out to a prospective affiliate. Why? Because nobody reads those. I want to start a conversation. I don't want them to respond back and say, yes, I want to be a part of your affiliate program. I just want them to respond back and say, sounds interesting. Could you tell me more? And like, if somebody sends you a 9-paragraph, 2,000 word email that you don't even know, and it's got like attachments, what do you do with it? You delete it.
You toss it.
And so
you say, good Lord, I'm getting rid of this.
And so, like, I don't know. It's just, I wish that there was a little bit more complication to it sometimes, but the reality is the principles are so simplistic, like, just, I'm always asking myself, we were just going through this yesterday as a team with, like, literally just a sign up form for a client, and the client's in the legal profession. So of course we were having a battle about, well, I want the sign up form to be shorter. And he's like, what, I need it to be longer. Yeah. And I'm like, okay,
constant battle.
I can only ask the question, if I'm an affiliate, what would I want? And so finally we arrived at a compromise. On your website, when people are coming to you, make it as long as you want. I really don't give a flip, make it complicated, because you do kind of need a vetting process on those people when they're coming out of the woodwork. Mm-hmm. But on the ones that I reach out to on your behalf, I need it to be super short. I need it to be like, because if I'm reaching out to you and saying, hey, do you want to be an affiliate? This product's amazing. You should promote it. And then I send you to a freaking application that takes you 11 minutes. You're like, dude, what the heck? You reached out
to me. Yeah.
And so I got them to, and they were totally cool. Like, they got it. As soon as I said that, they're like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Let's do that. And so, yeah, but it's like, those are kind of the principles, right? Like, always ask yourself the question, what if I was an affiliate? So I'll shut up in a second, Jamie, but I just want to say this, like, for me, it all shifted, and I had already been, affiliate manager of the year and won all the awards and all that stuff. Right. I don't believe I became an elite affiliate manager, like really good, like where I could honestly say, I'm one of the best, until I had been an affiliate for a couple of years. Until I had been promoting things, because it was the first time I looked at it and said, okay, it's not what's in it for me as the business owner or the affiliate manager for our company, or, or for our clients. But I now, everything goes through that filter of, okay, if I were an affiliate, what would I want? And it made everything like a million times better.
Yeah. And, we just had Joe Souza on the podcast, and that was a big thread through the conversation of his experience with over a decade of being an affiliate, and how that made him a better affiliate manager. So definitely that's gold. And you don't ever have to shut up. We don't record on tape anymore, so we can talk as long as you want.
All right, let's talk about Kentucky real quick.
Yeah. I only know two people in Kentucky. I don't have a whole lot to say. And I would like to be invited to their Kentucky Derby party. So I'm going to let you bash on that state.
So on that note, the best thing to ever come out of Kentucky, right?
What?
I-65 South.
I don't even know where that is, and I get the joke. Sorry, Kentucky. We still love you. So you're listening. We love you. Well, Matt, so after that business, you went to Legacy Learning.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about how'd you make the decision to move on in your career? And then what was that like at Legacy?
The decision was made for me. My business partners
I've had a few of those.
Yeah, business partners and I just did not see eye to eye. There were some fundamental disagreements about kind of the course that we were charting. And we had entered a little bit of a downturn due to some really bad business decisions that I was a part of, to be perfectly honest. And so it kind of just made sense. Like now is the time to move on to something else. And so they fired me, and I was, again, it was one of those things like I was super thankful for, because it was just like my dad firing me, before. It was one of the best things to ever happen to me. And so the CEO and I were still really good friends. I mean, like 2 weeks after he fired me, he was best man at my wedding. There were no hard feelings,
Wow.
other than I just really wanted to be a part of, I still wanted to make it work, but there were no hard feelings. And so he referred me to this guy who ran this company called Legacy Learning Systems. And for about 5 months, I kind of, I was newly married, and honestly, I was tired because I just come out of, about a 3-year startup phase with Hometown Quotes. And I kind of wanted some rest. It was actually really good for me just to decompress for a while and enjoy being newly married and all those things. And I flirted with the idea of going to work for him for a while, but I never really pulled the trigger. And then I remember I called him up one day. It was the funniest thing. I called him up one day and I was like, I said something, and he was like, yeah, actually I just got back from, I ran the such and such marathon. And I'm like, you're a runner? And I was like, man, I never knew that about you. I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to come work for you so I can learn more about you. And he's like, wait, what? I was like, you heard what I said. So I started there in 2009, May 15th, 2009. I still remember it was funny. I started on a Friday, and I'm like, what am I running? A public school? And if you remember that, how you like started school on like a Friday, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing ever. But it gave me one day to just kind of go in and get used to the landscape. But I ended up there, and it was really cool because it was my first exposure to like retail world. We sold learning DVDs. We taught people how to play guitar and drums and ballroom dance, American Sign Language, painting, piano, among other things. But it was still kind of more like the retail product world, physical product. And so I had to think about things like cost of goods and shipping when figuring out commissions and all that stuff. And it was a great experience for me. And loved it. And I think I ended up there for about 18 months before I went back to Hometown Quotes. Dude, just they had some issues, like unfortunately, and it's one of those things like where I was like, I felt really good. It was kind of cool to be able to be like, oh, they need me so much. But I also kind of felt bad for, Hunter, because when I left, the affiliate program went to total poop. I came back and I was there for about 8 months, and just one thing after another, without getting into the weeds on that, I got fired again from the same company, but by different people, because there was a guy we found out later, his MO was to take over distressed companies and then run them into the ground and buy them for the debt. And
oh, wow.
When I came back, we took the affiliate program from doing about $175,000 a month up to about $600,000 in 8 months. And it was the only profitable arm of the company. Our paid ads were losing money. Wow. Our strategic partnerships were losing money. Our email, the email buys were losing money. But the affiliate side was actually profiting. I think we were running about a 25% profit margin. So I know we were making like $125,000 a month. And that was a threat to him because, well, you can't distress a company. You can't drive a company into the ground if they have at least a semi-profitable division of the company.
Profitable channel.
But that's not how he played it. He played it off a completely different way. And so in a matter of one day, I was in a high level strategic meeting, and we were planning the next, quarter and all that. And the next day on a Saturday morning, it was like, yeah, you no longer work here. So that was kind of weird, but,
Wow.
again, great thing that happened to me. And is what set me on the course I've been on for the last decade or so, with my own business.
You've always had a great attitude, and I can see that resilience coming through and those kind of things. I've lost a job a time or two, and in the moment, man, sometimes it feels like the worst thing that could ever happen. Looking back, though, some of those circumstances were career changing and pivotal to who I am today. Now, I did want to go back to legacy learning, because you went through something there that is still timely now, that a lot of people are struggling with, the disclosures and advertisement, and you guys were involved in something with the FTC. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
No, I mean, I had the wonderful pleasure of getting to spend 2 consecutive full days of my life with 3 FTC attorneys in a conference room, along with a court reporter, or whatever those are called, stenographers or something, who every single time
bucket list item checked off.
Yeah. It was super awesome, because then when I got to read the 9,000 page transcript, roughly every single time I said pay-per-click marketing, she put pay-per-clip marketing. And yeah, they knew literally.
It gives you confidence in who's interviewing you, right?
They knew less than nothing about internet marketing. So the story behind that is, we had a relationship with Gibson Guitars. One of the guys on our team, I ran the internet marketing department, and he was on our team. He used to work at Gibson. He went to lunch one day, and he was like, "Hey, could you guys do a review of our course and put it up on your website?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool. It'd be great." No affiliate relationship whatsoever. The only thing was, we did use a tracking link to just to know what sales were coming, And one of our competitors, who he's probably from Kentucky, but I mean, like, I'm not exaggerating. This guy was like, I mean, I probably shouldn't say this. This just makes me seem like petty, but this guy, like, I never once saw him where he wasn't like in a sleeveless shirt and he had a mullet and he was like a total metalhead, and he ran. They wouldn't even call him a competitor of our company, because our audience was like 40 to 45 to 64-year-old, like, executives who had learned guitar on their bucket list. And his audience was like, like 16-year-olds who said dude every third word, And so this dude, he complains to the FTC that Gibson was promoting us without disclosing it. And we were like, well, they're not an affiliate. That's just a tracking link, so we know how many sales are coming from. And we're like, we kind of thought that was the end of it, but they actually, because for whatever reason they had nothing better to do at their time, they investigated and found that, shockingly, like, a few of our affiliates who totaled like $13,000 in sales the year before weren't disclosing properly. But it was right after their if you remember, this was 2010. They had just published their guidelines, which weren't new. People say, like, oh, the FTC passed a new law. No, the law had been in place for 112 years. They just clarified it for the internet, because, like anything that the government does, they waited until 2010, roughly 20 years after the internet came around, to actually do anything about it, And you could tell, like, there's a hint of like, wow, this was just an idiotic whole thing. I was originally named in the lawsuit, but they quickly dropped that because they realized I had all the documentation of all the emails we had sent, like, telling them, you need to do this. And if you don't, like, we had documentation of affiliates that we found and warned and kicked out of the program. But
that's what scared me, Matt, most when I read that, wasn't that the company was named. It was the first time I'd ever seen an employee of a company named.
Yeah. Well, they quickly removed.
I was just like,
I was pulled off that within like days. Our attorney, that guy was a bulldog. He was just like, that's not going to fly. And he's like, I'll just be honest with you guys. If you keep, what he basically said was, if you keep him on, then we'll make a case out of this, and we'll bury you. And the CEO got taken off, but the company was left on. And all of it predated me from a technical standpoint. I came on after the FTC stuff. The CEO had been running it, and it wasn't that he was an idiot or did anything nefarious. He just was busy because he's running a $7 million company.
Yeah.
And also running the affiliate program. And so I came on and got all this stuff in place, but they did find some instances of people who didn't disclose properly in various channels. And to make an example of us, I think it was a pretty light slap on the wrist to what they could have done, but it was still, I thought it was a joke. I mean, it was like a, $100,000 fine and like something else. Of course they made sure that it made the news because again,
oh yeah,
they're trying to make an example. And what I tell people all the time is like, you have to keep in mind, there are bad actors out there in affiliate world, in every world. There are people out there saying, writing things, unsubstantiated claims about weight loss pills and things like that. I'm like, how about we focus on them?
Yeah.
And I do believe that there is the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, and I think there are nuances to, those two, as my dad used to say, it's like, with regard to like the letter of the law and the spirit of law, it's like, if the speed limit changes from 55 to 45 and you're going 49, 2 feet after the sign is the real, like, is the letter of the law says you're speeding, but the spirit of the law is you were slowing down, And for us, I think that the spirit of the law was that we did everything that we knew to do within reason. And the company hired me, the company was paying me, a pretty substantial amount of money, but not, I wasn't getting paid $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a team. There's 2 people on our team, on the affiliate team, me and a part-time, virtual assistant. And I think we did everything within reason to make sure that the rules were being followed as best as we could. And they even acknowledged in the documentation that our top 44 affiliates were all in compliance.
Mm.
That I think there was like 5 or 4 or 6 or whatever, a very small number. The total amount of sales they made was the year before was like $13,000. This is out of a probably $5 million affiliate program, $7 million company. $5 million, 13,000 was the total amount made by the quote unquote bad actors. Like, I don't think that the punishment fit the crime. And in fact, I really just think there should have been like, I don't know, is there a way to put us on probation where they're like, we're going to watch you like a hawk, and if you screw up at all in the next year, then we'll do something. Like, I don't know.
Well, they were definitely looking for something. I remember it did the trick because it scared the hell out of everybody else. Especially when
super awesome. I'm super excited about that for you. No, I mean, here's the positive. You talked about like the positive attitude. The positive side is I honestly like I don't shy away from that. I mean, I tell that story a lot. Not the full thing there, but I'm like, I've been sued by the FTC. I just leave it at that. Like I know more about FTC compliance than probably any affiliate manager there is. And the very simple reason for that is, okay, you can look at this as a negative, and I do joke about that it was probably 2 of the worst days of my life, but I actually got to learn a lot of the nuance and exactly what I know how the FTC works. I probably shouldn't say this. Like, I know how to make sure that it's not a problem, even if we technically aren't perfectly to the letter of the law. And what I mean by that is I actually know what they'll look for now.
Yeah.
And I know how to make sure that we cover our butts, even like somebody else might do more and they'll do a better job. They'll get caught. I'll do a worse job and not get caught because I know how they work. And hopefully that makes sense. What I just said. The point to that is like, that ended up being a positive. And so when I work with our clients now, like, I'm able to tell them definitively, here are the things we need to do to make sure we cover your butts. So that, because I'll tell them like, I'm not getting sued. I know how to get off. Like, I know exactly what my attorney needs to say if I ever get sued again. Here's how you don't get sued. And I think that's that's the positive side to it.
Yeah. And we may do, because there are a lot of things we did from the fallout of that to make sure our clients don't incur any issues. And in what, the 11 years or so since then, we've not personally had any issues. So thank you for sharing that story. I have been involved in legal issues. The biggest one was about a $300,000 contract dispute with a large credit card affiliate. And I remember how stressful that was. I was probably 26 at the time, and just thinking the resolution of this issue determines whether I have employment or not for maybe a long time. That had to be incredibly stressful, being interviewed by them and named by them and all of that. I can't imagine how difficult that period was.
It was really hard for me at the time. I was 20. I think I just turned 30. I was 30. I was still kind of young, and a little bit of a punk. And it was really hard for me because somebody who, like, you and I have this conversation, we could talk about affiliate management and affiliate marketing and like nerd out on it. But even like somebody who maybe doesn't know the affiliate world, but has like a basic understanding of internet marketing, or just, like how the internet works, like they're not surprised that when they see things in their feed on Facebook that they've never seen before, they're not like, why are you in my feed? And I'm like, it's an ad. Like, do you not, seriously, it's 2021, have you not figured that out yet? Because like we get those on our ads sometimes. You're like, get out of my feed. And I'm like, it's not like I said target Tom Smith in Fargo, North Dakota, dude. Like, you just happen to be who Facebook picked. Get over it. But like, they had no concept of how affiliate programs worked. I'm like, how are you the one they picked to be in this room with me? And you are like, I mean, like, I remember one of them, like, I looked him up and like, you're a Georgetown law grad, and yet you don't even have the basic understanding of like how a search engine works.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of the questions he asked me, it was just like so idiotic. And then, he was like, well, okay, so you sent this email to your affiliates. Did you make sure that each of them received it? I'm like, dude, it's a mass email. It shows me if they opened it. Did it confirm that they read it? I'm like, how do you know how email works? Like, I can put a red receipt. Like, I can click red if you want me to put a red receipt on it, which I don't know what you really do that with mass emails back then. But like, I can click a red. I'm like, first of all, who asked for a read receipt in ever? Maybe
I get them every once in a while now, and it's just like, come on, really?
Okay, yeah. I mean, like 1998, maybe we asked for that, but like, and I just remember going, no, because I know how to do email etiquette, and like, there were times where in my brain, so our attorney's sitting there with us, and I would like lean over to him, like, I was like, dude, I don't know how to answer this without being a smart aleck. I have no concept of how to answer this without sarcasm.
Man.
Please help me. And he's like, okay, can you explain it to me?
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, explain it to me. And I'm like, I'm explaining to him. He's like, okay, now say this. And I was just like, man. So it was hard. And I know that kind of makes me sound like a punk, because I there a little bit of me was, but it was just, that was the frustrating part for me, was just like, you were the wrong people to be in here. Just give me somebody who has the same legal knowledge, but actually understands how the internet works. Like, I was wondering if they were going to like, I don't even know. I just was so afraid they were going to ask me like, did we have a gerbil running our server or something, like,
how did you power your server? Gerbils. Yeah.
It was just like, and then, we had switched over to share a sale. So we're on the network, and they're like, on this network, do you have access to all of their promotions? Like, I'm like, well, like, no, we can't see everything they're doing. That's literally impossible, but we can tell where their clicks come from and where their sales were generated from. And we do review that, and we do have a form that they submit that has the their disclosure and like, well, did you review it? And I'm like, yes, I did at the time, but no, I don't review to see if they have a disclosure every single day. And that's what we learned was like, if you have those records and then they change something, you're not responsible and things like that. And
that's probably the biggest thing that we do is maintaining those records of what we find, spot checking and keeping those active. It seems to be one of the big things.
And then I think the good news, I will say this, is that when we convinced them that we only had to audit our top 50, that was like the punishment was we had to maintain like a quarterly audit or an every 6 months audit of our top 50. And I was like, okay, at least they were reasonable in that, because if they said every affiliate, then we're just going to have to get rid of, a lot of affiliates. And I don't believe in that. I literally, before we did this, like right before we went live with this interview, I was on a Facebook Live talking about how affiliate programs should work with small affiliates and the value of that, and how, the industry is shifting and, that incestuous, like you promote me, I'll promote you, and we're only going to work with like top, 5 or 10 affiliates. That's going by the wayside now. And we've been preaching that for a decade, and now kind of the industry starting to see it. So,
and we still get questions of like, hey, when are we going to remove affiliates? When are we going to take them out? And we don't believe in that either. There's always good.
Yeah. There's no reason to take affiliates out.
Totally. No reason at all. Yeah. Now, Matt, tell me what you're doing now. Let's go into the present, into what's going on. I know you really have a passion, for helping people take their passion and turning that into a living. Tell me about Matt McWilliams Consulting.
It's all about that. I mean, we kind of talked about this earlier. We were talking about COVID. There's so many people out there. They have a message, they have a passion, and they want to turn it into, some sort of a profitable business. And it just so happens that, affiliate marketing ends up being kind of the avenue for that. It ends up being the, the way that they make, they turn their passion into profit. I'm literally writing a book right now, be out like a year probably after this interview goes live, called The Passion to Profit Path. And one of the things I talk about in there is like, when we work with our students and clients, we typically see kind of these two very polar opposite entrepreneurs, Jamie. The first type is like, they're super successful. Their business is going great. They're making good money, but they hate their work. And then the flip side, the complete opposite is they love what their work, they love what they're doing for work, right? They wake up every morning and they're like, yeah, this is going to be so much fun. I'm changing the world, but they're not making any money.
Yeah. And
it doesn't matter if you're making great money if you hate your work. And it doesn't matter if you love your work, but you're not making any money, or actually losing it in some cases. Regardless of which extreme you fall into, you give up, you quit, and the world misses out on your message. And so we find that those are like the two extremes. So how do we end up with entrepreneur type number 3, where they're actually passionate about their work and they make money? The issue is, if you're anything like I was when I first started my platform, like, yay, I love what I'm doing. I'm super passionate, but how do I make money? How do I monetize? I don't know what my audience wants. What price point are they going to buy it? How do I sell? I don't know how to write sales copy. How do you do a promotion? What's the, like all of these things. And we're like, well, wait. So we teach affiliate marketing from a very different angle, which is, what if you use affiliate marketing as the springboard to learn how to monetize? What if you use affiliate marketing, like you can literally start making money today? Like there's no barrier to entry. It's easy to scale. You don't have to do any fulfillment, right? There's no hidden costs like credit card processing or hosting and all that. There's no risk. Like you don't have to do the customer service, right? But it teaches you how to sell, and it proves that you can sell. You learn what works for your audience. It trains your audience to buy. So instead of just, your audience going along getting free content, which is a terrible business model, by the way. You're actually training them to expect offers to be made periodically. It funds your business, and a lot of it can be passive income. You start to develop relationships with other affiliates, which turns, them into potential partners. all those benefits, like nobody really talks about with affiliate marketing, because it's like a lot of times it's just, well, you can make a lot of money, it serves your audience.
Yeah.
Like that's the other way. Like it serves your audience, because if you have nothing to take them to the next level and you're not creating it, like how are you going to serve them? So it serves your audience. And so it just allows you as the platform builder, right, to be able to start to monetize and set those expectations with your audience, even if you don't have a product of your own. Because I've got a shelf full of crap that I was like, my audience will love this, and they didn't, because I was guessing at what my audience was going to love. We hear the stories. We hear the stories of like, well, my husband filled the garage with boxes and now I haven't been able to use my garage for the last 3 years. It's like, no, what you needed to do was promote affiliate offers and learn what your audience wants and learn how to sell and learn, those things before you actually went out and started creating your own products. And so you learn the price points that they'll buy at. You'll learn like some of the sequencing of emails and how to actually sell in email and online and all those things that you can't learn any other way. And so I always look at it as you get paid to practice. And that's what we teach people. If a better way comes along that's not affiliate marketing, I'll be the first to advocate for it. But right now, I don't think there's anything better.
So you are teaching up and coming affiliates how to use these affiliate programs as a springboard. And that springboard is to create something of their own, or do they continue to promote affiliate offers? What's the springboard to?
Ultimately, it's to create your own products and services, but continue to use affiliate marketing for things like, serving your audience, filling in the gaps. It fills in the gaps in your own offerings. The example I often use, like imagine you're a fitness trainer and you're great at teaching people how to eat right, exercise, do all that. And you've got products they're all about eating right and exercise. But your audience needs to learn things like time management and stress relief and goal setting, productivity, natural healing, and all that. Like you're not the expert on those things, right? You don't want to be the expert on those. And you have no plans on creating a product in those areas. So how do you serve your audience? You promote affiliate offers for those who offer courses in those areas. And so it also broadens your reach. It allows you in those different areas, kind of what we call it the affiliate donut. And so the affiliate donut, Jamie, is like, if you imagine a donut, that hole in the middle, that is your core thing. That is like the very one thing that you are known for. You are the fitness instructor. That is all you do, is teach people how to eat right and exercise. But that donut is everything outside of there. If you're a financial coach, right, that would be things like you teach investing and saving. Those are the only two things you teach. But what about leadership or entrepreneurship, how to find work that they love, productivity, goal setting, right? Things like that. Like if you think about this, the cool thing about it is like, if people become more productive, they have more time to exercise and eat right. So it actually benefits your business. If you're the fitness trainer, people who are better at setting goals will seek out financial coaching to help them reach those goals. In other words, like affiliate recommendations can actually help your sales, not hurt them. And that's a misconception. It's like, well, if I go promote affiliate offers, not my own stuff, that's going to hurt me. No, it can actually work, to really help your audience. And like I said, it serves them, by filling in those gaps in the products that you don't have. Because like, if you come to me and you say, Matt, you teach me affiliate marketing, but how do I start a membership site? I'm not the expert on that. So let me just refer you to my friend and client, Stu McLaren, and you'll go pay him $2,000 and I'll make an $800 commission, and win-win. You now are getting expert advice from the world's leading expert on how to create recurring revenue in your business. And I served you by sending you to him. That's really all it, if you break down affiliate marketing to its core, that's all it is like, how do I serve you better by recommending other people's products and services?
Yeah, that was perfect. It's all, you and I both come from, I think, from the same perspective. It's all about the audience. Who is your audience? What do they want? What do they expect from you? And then how can you serve them? And if you serve it through an affiliate link and a recommendation, fantastic. If you serve it through your own product, then fantastic.
Yep.
That's awesome. Now you use a couple things in managing your programs. I remember one time we were talking about competitions and leaderboards. You mentioned a mastermind that you did not too far from my house not too long ago. What are some of the key things that you teach in order for people to increase their revenue through their affiliates?
Number one is kind of like we just talked. Sorry, I got totally distracted, Jamie, because my son is outside my office window, like knocking, like waving, and hey, daddy.
Well, tell him we all said hi.
He's so cute. Okay, where were we? I just totally, and you can totally leave this in. I have like just totally.
Oh, I think I will. Well, see, I've been waiting for my dog to bark. So basically, some of the things we talked about and some of the things I've seen you do are competitions and leaderboards with your affiliates, using Facebook, to manage and communicate. And also you've done some masterminds not too far from where I live, here in the same town you had one. So what are the things that you use and you teach people to manage their affiliates well, increase the revenue through, keep things exciting and productive?
We teach what we call the 3 C's. And it's like a whole thing that would be like a podcast episode in and of itself, but it's contest, communication, and coaching. And so contests, we're really focused on not just engaging our top affiliates, but how do we engage all of our affiliates, like even down to the smallest. So, just one example of that, like doing really deep leaderboards. Instead of just showing the top 10, we do like a top 50, a top 30. And because people love seeing their name, right? We do random contests where it's like, okay, every affiliate who sends more than 25 leads this month is entered to win. So you could be like virtually the smallest affiliate and you can be entered to win. If you have one sale this week, you're entered to win, things like that. Right. Sometimes we'll just do competitions where it's like, okay, put us on your email list. Every email you send this week is an entry to win. And so we've had affiliates send, 10, 12 emails in a week, as opposed to the 1 or 2 they were probably planning on sending. So that's contest. Communication just means, like, I think there's most affiliate programs vastly under communicate. And so we talk about, like, especially if you're leading up to like a big product launch, one of the biggest mistakes we see is like people be like, oh, hey, our launch is in 45 days. Like, well, where you been for the last, let me think, 320 days? Like you just like, I didn't exist, you just whatever. And so we talk about things like doing, behind the scenes access, like making them a part of maybe the launch creation and things like that, giving them, we don't call them promo plans. We call them commitment plans, because we actually found that we got about 15% lift when we call them commitment plans, because people don't want a promo plan. They want something to commit to. We talk about like sharing stories and testimonials and, asking for referrals, breaking up things and sending physical mail. Like one thing we do, and feel free to steal this, we send what we call a fake book check. The fake book check is a thing that looks like it's an actual check in the mail. And literally all it is it's for $1,000. And we say, hey, here's $1,000 advance on your commissions. If you will take this money and run Facebook ads, then, here you go. All you got to do is let us know. And we don't send that to everybody. Of course, we send it to the ones we know we're going to make more than $1,000. But, so that's the communication side. And then lastly is the coaching. Teach your affiliates, share best strategies, share what's working with, for other affiliates, train them. Sometimes if it's a launch or a promotion, like a big promotion, just walking them through the calendar, doing a quick 30-minute Zoom training and sending the replay where you're teaching them like, hey, you should send this email on this day, this email on this day, this email on this day, send 2 emails on this day. Like you don't even have to like teach them high level strategy, like how to close sales or how to get more opt-ins or how to put together a bonus package. Like you can teach them all those things. That's super grateful, but if it's super awesome because it'll move the needle. But sometimes just walking through the calendar with them, can be effective. And so that's the 3 C's, the, contest, communications, and coaching. That's really the kind of the pillars. It's pretty much everything in our company. That's the basis of everything we do is those 3 things.
That's fantastic. I love both of those examples. They're easy to hold on to and easy to understand. And we've done a lot of those. We've done some crazy contests over the years. and found those to be quite effective. Now, a large portion of what you do is for digital products, right?
Yep.
And do you think all these tactics, in your experience, do they also do really well with physical goods?
Absolutely. With physical goods, we really like to make sure that we focus, you have a cost of goods. A lot of times the cost of goods can be high. It can be 50 to 75% of the price. So you got to be careful with things. And so we focus more on what we call incremental prizes, which is like, hey, if you make 100 sales, you get this. Not if you're our top affiliate, you get this. But I mean, these are like basic principles, like they work in digital products. They work in retail products. They work in physical. They work in leads. They work in services, coaching. I mean, we've run affiliate programs. We've worked with, Shutterfly. That's, retail physical product. We've worked with, we said legacy learning. I've worked in the insurance leads. I've worked with financial companies. We've worked with other major retailers that I'm not at liberty to say, right on up to some of the OGs in like the online marketing space. We've worked with coaching programs. We've worked with programs where they sell live events. I mean, I can't think of like a niche or a broad level, type of product that we haven't worked with. And the principles are the principles. They work for all of them. Sure. Do we tweak them a little bit? Are there some nuances every now and again that we apply to say, a big, a $10 million affiliate program versus a, $700,000 affiliate program? Of course. Are there some nuances in the lead generation world, like financial leads, where we have to worry about things like lead quality more so than in, digital course world? Yeah, there's some nuances like that. But 97% of our playbook is transferable between every conceivable niche, every conceivable product type, every conceivable price point and size of affiliate program.
Awesome. Well, Matt, we are over time, and you have given us so much and I am sorry about that. Okay. Now, I thank you so much. How can people find you if they want to learn more, if they want to develop their side hustle, where should they go?
Yeah. So I would point people to two places. Like if you're kind of in that place where you're like, I want to get into affiliate marketing, I'm just not really sure how to get started. I would go to mattmcwilliams.com/quick start and go there. It's our quick start guide to affiliate marketing. And if you're in a place where you're like, I kind of need to have a basic understanding of, how to find some affiliates. Like, these would be people, Jamie, like they're not ready to work with you. Like they need to just see proof of concept, and then they'll see how hard it is and be like, hey, can you run my affiliate program? It's already doing like $200,000 a month, but if you're like where I was, okay, I'll tell you what, this is where I wish I said earlier, Memorial Day, 2005, when I was like making all of this up and figuring all this up for myself and had no clue what I was doing. If I had just had a mattmcwilliams.com/first100, that's FIRST 100. If I'd had that, oh my gosh, I said we did $1 million in our 18th month. I would have been doing $1 million in month like 7. Instead of like that first month where I was, what would we call it? Floating the money.
Float, yeah.
Like where I'm like, oh man, I really need our affiliates to make $500 in sales tomorrow, or I can't pay any of them. If you want to avoid that, go there and we'll show you how to kind of get those first 100 affiliates, get your affiliate program started. Just to be clear, that guide is not the how do you create $1 million affiliate, or $1 million a month affiliate program. It's how do you just get started? How do you get proof of concept? How do you get your first 100? How do you get your first, couple $1,000s coming in so you can see that this is a viable option for your business?
Outstanding. Well, Matt, thank you again. I enjoy every conversation since the very first one, just a few weeks before you trounced me in that award, everyone since. And I really appreciate your time.
Just for the record, too, you reminded me. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, no problem. Well, congrats again, a decade later. But thank you for today, man. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll include a lot of this stuff in the show notes.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. See ya. Wow, what a podcast. Hour and 10 minutes. Great stuff. Matt, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You always have a tremendous amount of knowledge and experience, and It's always fun to chat with you. For our listeners, want to make sure you go to mattmcwilliams.com/quickstart, mattmcwilliams.com/first100. Those are going to give you a whole lot of resources. But, really want to talk about some of the things that really spoke to me. And the first one was, if I'm an affiliate, what would I want? And that's so often overlooked when advertisers are planning promotions, they're planning their affiliate program, they're planning creative, and they're trying to increase their revenue. Often what is lost is, well, what does the affiliate want? This is a different space. So if you don't ask that question, you often will send out tone-deaf emails, not addressing what affiliates really, really want. The other thing that's a thread through some of our past podcast guests as well is Matt stating he wasn't an elite affiliate manager until he had been an affiliate for a number of years. So having that expertise helps so dramatically in managing affiliate programs. The 3 C's, something so important to remember: contest, communication, and coaching, and then that affiliate donut. The 3 C's really important to the affiliate manager. Are you doing things to incentivize your affiliates to be profitable? Are you communicating? And I agree with Matt. Most programs, especially ones that JEBCommerce takes over, communication has been completely nothing. So that is huge to it. And then coaching. Affiliates want to know how they can earn more. And since the affiliate manager has access to thousands of affiliates, and an agency like ours has access to hundreds of thousands of affiliates, there's a lot of knowledge and data that can be passed down. So so much there. Want you guys to definitely check out those resources. mattmcwilliams.com/quickstart, mattmcwilliams/first100. Definitely reach out. Matt, thank you so much again. And don't forget about our free resource at JEBCommerce.com/incremental. And that is a benchmarking tool, ask you questions in 7 different areas of your affiliate program to give you a full evaluation of how likely is your program really generating incremental revenue. So just go to JEBCommerce.com/incremental to get access to that. And just like always, since the beginning of the pandemic, I've set aside time for any of you for anything you need help with. You can go to Jamie Birch, or you can go to Calendly.com/Jamie Birch, and you can set up time with me at any time. We can talk about incrementality. We can talk about contests with your affiliates. We can talk about recruiting, and we can talk profitability. Any of those things and other things you need help with, just go set time up. If you just want to send an email and get some help over email, please feel free to do that. Get help at JEBCommerce.com. Send your request over, and we'll do everything we can to help you. So I hope you guys have a great day, and you're well on your way to running a profitable performance marketing program.